the neurological system. It is an examination of the neurologic system which comprises the assessment of the mental status, including the level of consciousness, the cranial nerves, reflexes, motor, and sensory functions. Some parts of the neurologic assessment are performed throughout the health assessment, like mental assessment, observing the appearance and cranial nerve functions. Assemble the equipment: sugar, salt, lemon juice, and quinine flavor, percussion hammer, tongue depressor, 1 broken diagonally for testing pain sensation, whips of cotton to assist light touch sensation, test tube of hot and cold water for skin temperature. For skin temperature assessment, it is optional. Pins or needles for tactile discrimination. Introduce yourself and verify the client's identity. Explain the client what you are going to do, why it is necessary, and how client can cooperate. Then perform hand hygiene and observe other appropriate infection control procedures. Use an alcohol to sanitize your hands. Then provide for client privacy by closing the window and the curtains and then the door. Hi, ma'am. I am Hazel Mendihar, your student nurse for today. Are you Miss Harla Lopio? So, now, ma'am, I am here to assess your neurologic system. And in this assessment, I want your 100% cooperation to make this assessment done properly. Is that okay, ma'am? Okay, ma'am, thank you. Inquire if the client has any history of the following: presence of pain in the head, back, or extremities, as well as onset and aggravating and alleviating factors, disorientation to time, place, or person, speech disorder, any history of lost consciousness, fainting, convulsions, trauma, tingling or numbness, tremors or tics, limping, paralysis, and uncontrolled muscles, movements, loss of memory, or mood swings, problem with smell, vision, taste, touch, or hearing. Language. If the client display difficulty speaking, point to common objects and ask the client to name them. Ask the client to read some words and to match the printed and written words with pictures. Okay, ma'am, can you read this? Yan, hilom yan.
Family of Jesus Christ.
Okay. So, what's this, ma'am?
Family of Jesus Christ.
Okay, thank you. Ask the client to respond to simple verbal and written commands. Example: point to your toes and or raise your left arm. Ma'am, point to your toes. Can you raise your left arm? Okay, ma'am, thank you. Orientation. Determine the client's orientation to time, place, and person by tactful questioning. Ask the client the city and state of residence, time of day, date, day of the week, duration of illness, and names of family members. Okay, ma'am, iingon imong city of state of residence.
Bukat Bayugan.
Okay. Unsa may oras na karon, ma'am?
3 o'clock.
Unsa man adlaw na to karon?
August 5.
Okay. Pila man ka adlaw ang isa ka semana?
7.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, can you iingon imuhang family members, ma'am, ilahang name.
Kate Bakalupyo. Maki Kokalupyo. Jared Maki Bakalupyo.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Then, more direct questioning might be necessary for some people. Example: where are you now? What day is it today? Where are you right now, ma'am?
Bukas Farshete.
Okay. What day it is today?
Tuesday.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Memory. Listen for lapses in memory. Ask the client about difficulty with memory. If problems are appeared, 3 categories of memory are tested. Immediate recall, recent memory, and remote memory. Okay, ma'am, do you have a difficulty with your memory? Nakay paglisod sa imuhang kanang pag-hinumdom? Okay, thank you. To assess immediate recall, ask the client to repeat a series of 3 digits. Example, 7, 4, 3, spoken slowly. Okay, ma'am, can you repeat the number after me? 7, 4, 3.
7, 4, 3.
Gradually increase the number of digits. 7, 4, 3, 5, 7, 4, 3, 5, 6, and 7, 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 2. Until the client fails to repeat the series correctly. 7, 4, 3, 5.
7, 4, 3, 5.
7, 4, 3, 5, 6.
7, 3, 5, 4, 6.
7, 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 2.
7, 2, 5.
Then, start again with a series of 3 digits, but this time, ask the client to repeat them backward. 7, 4, 3.
4, 7.
The average person can repeat a series of 5 to 8 digits in sequence and 4 to 6 digits in reverse order. To assess recent memory, ask the client to recall the recent events of the day, such as how he got to the clinic. This information must be validated. Ask the client to recall information given early in the interview, the name of a doctor or the nurse attendant. Can you say the name of the student nurse?
Hazel Mindihar.
Provide the client with 3 facts to recall: a color, an object, and an address, or a 3-digit number, and ask the client to repeat all 3. Later in the interview, ask the client to recall all 3 items. I will going to say you a color, object, and an address. And then you will going to repeat it. Color is blue, ball pen, and Bayugan City. Okay, ma'am, can you repeat 3?
Blue, then Bayugan City.
To assess remote memory, ask the client to describe a previous illness or surgery. Attention span and calculation. A. Test the ability to concentrate or attention span by asking the client to recite the alphabet or to count backward from 100. Okay, ma'am, can you recite the alphabet from A to Z? Test the ability to calculate by asking the client to subtract 7 or 3. Progressively from 100. Example, 100 minus 7 is equal to 93, 86, 79, or 100 minus 3, 97 minus 3, so 94. Okay, ma'am, can you give me the answer when I ask you a question? Okay, ma'am. 100 minus 7.
90.
How about 100 minus 3? Level of consciousness. Apply the Glasgow Coma skill, eye response, motor response, and verbal response. Cranial nerves. Test the cranial nerves. Cranial nerve 1 or olfactory. Ask the client to close eyes and identify different mild aromas such as coffee and vanilla. Cranial nerve 2, optic. Ask the client to read Snellen chart, check visual field by confrontation, and conduct an ophthalmoscopic examination. Cranial nerve 3 or oculomotor. Assist 6 ocular movements and pupil reaction. Cranial nerve 4 or the trochlear. Assist 6 ocular movements. Cranial nerve 5 or the trigeminal abdominal. While client looks upward, lightly touch the lateral sclera of the eye to elicit the blink reflex. To test light sensation, have the client close eyes and wipe a whisk of cotton over client's forehead and paranasal sinuses. To test deep sensation, use alternating blunt and sharp ends of a safety pin over the same area. Cranial nerve 6 or the abducens assist directions of gaze. Cranial nerve 7 or the facial. Ask the client to smile, raise the eyebrow, frown, puff out cheeks, and close eye tightly. Ask the client to identify various taste placed on the tip side of the tongue, sugar, salt, and to identify taste of areas. Cranial nerves 8 or the auditory. Assist the client's ability to hear the spoken word and the vibration of a tuning fork. Cranial nerve 9 or the glossopharyngeal. Apply taste on the posterior tongue for identification. Ask the client to move tongue from side to side and up and down. Cranial nerve 10 or the vagus. Assist with the cranial nerve 9. Assess the client's speech for hoarseness. Cranial nerve 11 or the accessory. Ask the client to shrug shoulders against resistance from your hands and turn to head to the side against resistance from your hand. Repeat for the other side. Cranial nerve 12 or the hypoglossal. Ask the client to protrude tongue at midline, then move it side to side. Reflexes. To test reflexes using a percussion hammer, comparing one side of the body with the other to evaluate the symmetry of response. The bicep reflex tests the spinal cord's level to C5 and C6. Bicep reflex. Partially flex the client's arm at the elbow and rest the forearm over the thigh, placing the palm of the hand down. Place the thumb of your non-dominant hand horizontally over the biceps tendon. Deliver a blow or slightly downward thrust with the percussion hammer to your thumb. Observe the normal slight flexion of the elbow and feel the biceps contraction to your thumb. Tricep reflex. The tricep reflex tests the spinal cord levels to C7 and or the C8. Tricep reflex. Flex the client arm at the elbow and support it in the palm of your non-dominant hand. Palpate the triceps tendon about 2 to 5 cm or 1 to 2 inches above the elbow. Deliver a blow with the percussion hammer directly to the tendon. Then observe for the normal slight extension of the elbow. Brachioradialis reflex. The brachioradialis reflex tests the spinal cord level C to 3 and C6. Rest the client arm in a relaxed position on your forearm or on the client's own leg. Deliver a blow with the percussion hammer directly on the radius 2 to 5 cm or 1 to 2 inches above the rest or the styloid process, the prominence on the thumb side of the wrist. Then observe the normal flexion and supination of the forearm. The fingers of the hand might also extend slightly. Patellar reflex. The patellar reflex tests the spinal cord level 2, level 3, and the level 4. Patellar reflex. Ask the client to sit on the edge of the examining table so that the legs hang freely. Locate the patellar tendon directly below the patella. Deliver a blow with a percussion hammer directly to the tendon. Observe the normal extension or kicking out of the legs as the quadriceps muscles contract. If no response occurs and you suspect that the client is not relaxed, ask the client to interlock fingers and pull. Can you sit, ma'am? Achilles reflex. With the client in the same position as for the patellar reflex test, slightly dorsiflex the client's ankle by supporting the foot lightly in your hand. Deliver a blow with a percussion hammer directly to the tendon. Observe and feel the normal plantar flexion or downward jerk of the foot. Plantar or the Babinski reflex. Use a moderately sharp object such as the handle of the percussion hammer, a K, or the dull end of a pin or the applicator stick. Stroke the lateral border of the sole of the client's foot starting at the heel, continuing to the ball of the foot, and then proceed across the ball of the foot toward the big toe. Then observe the response. Normal, all 5 toes bend downward. This reaction is negative, Babinski. In an abnormal Babinski response, the toes spread outward and big toes move upward. Gross motor and balance test walking gait. Ask the client to walk across the room and back. Then assist the client's gait. Romberg test. Ask the client to stand with feet together and arms resting at the sides. First with eyes open, then close. Side in eyes. Dikit. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Standing on one foot with eyes closed. Ask the client to close eyes and stand on one foot, then the other. Stand close to the client during this test. Okay, ma'am. Close your eyes. Stand with one foot only. Then the other. Heel to walking. Ask the client to walk a straight line, placing the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other foot. Okay, ma'am. Straight line. Yeah. Go. Walking. Ask the client to walk several steps on the toes and then on the heels. Fine motor test for the upper extremities. Finger to nose test. Ask the client to abduct and extend arm at shoulder height and rapidly touch nose alternate with one index finger and then the other. Have the client repeat the test with eyes closed if the test is performed easily. Okay, ma'am, can you abduct and extend your arm like this? Then touch your nose in your index finger, alternate, then sa ikas. Okay, ma'am, so perform it. Touch your nose, the other nose. Okay, ma'am, do it with your eyes closed. Okay. Alternating supination and pronation of hands on knees. Ask the client to pat both knees with the palms of both hands and then with the back of hands. Alternate at an ever increasing rate. Okay, ma'am, can you pat your both knees like this? Then back of your hands. Finger to nose and to the nurse finger. Ask the client to touch nose and then your index finger held at a distance at about 45 cm or 18 inches at a rapid and increasing rate. Fingers to fingers. Ask the client to spread arms broadly at shoulder height and then bring fingers together at the midline. First with eyes open and then closed. First slowly and then rapidly. Spread your arms with your eyes open. Then bring it to the midline together. Then do it close in faster. Fingers to thumb, same hand. Ask the client to touch each finger of one hand to the thumb or the same hand as rapidly as possible. Okay, ma'am? Touch your fingers using your thumb. See? Fine motor test for the lower extremities. Ask the client to lie supine and to perform this test. Heel down opposite shrine. Ask the client to place the heel of one foot just below the opposite knee and run the heel down the shrine to foot. Repeat with the other foot. The client may also use a sitting position for this test. Two or ball of foots to the nurse finger. Ask the client to touch your finger with a large two of each foot. Light touch sensation. Compare the light touch sensation of the symmetric areas of the body. Ask the client to close eyes and to respond by saying yes or no whenever the client feels the cotton whips touching the skin. With a whips of cotton, lightly touch one specific spot and then the same spot on the other side of the body. Test areas on the forehead, cheek, hand, lower arm, abdomen, foot, and lower leg. Check a distal area of the limb first. Ask the client to point to the spot where the touch was felt. If areas of sensory dysfunction are found, determine the boundaries of sensation by testing response approximately every 2 to 0.5 cm or 1 inch in the area. Make a sketch of the sensory loss area for recording purposes. Okay, ma'am. Can you say yes when you feel the whips of cotton touching your skin? Okay. You have close your eyes.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Can you point where you feel the touch? Okay, thank you. Pain sensation. Assess pain sensation as follows. Ask the client to close his or her eyes and to say sharp, dull, or don't know when the sharp or dull end of the broken tongue depressor is it felt. Alternately, use the sharp and dull end of the astrolabe pin or needle to lightly prick designated anatomic areas at random. The face is not tested in this manner. Allow at least 2 seconds between each test. Close your eyes.
Sharp, dull, sharp, dull, sharp, dull, sharp, dull, sharp, dull. Kung magkamali,
Okay, close your eyes.
sharp, dull, sharp, sharp, dull, sharp, dull.
Temperature sensation. Touch skin areas with test tube filled with hot or cold water. Have the client respond saying hot, cold, or don't know.
Cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot.
Position or kinesthetic sensation. Commonly, the middle fingers and large toes are tested for the kinesthetic sensation. To test the fingers, support the client's arm with one hand and hold the client's palm in the other. To test the toes, place the client's heel on the examining table. As the client closes his or her eyes, grasp a middle finger or a big toe firmly between your thumb and index finger and exert the same pressure on both sides of the finger or toe while moving it. Move the finger or toe until it is up, down, or straight out and ask the client to identify the position. Close eyes. Identify the position which your toe move.
Side.
Tactile discrimination. For all the tests, the client's eyes need to be closed. 1 and 2 point discrimination alternate. Stimulate the skin with 2 pins simultaneously and then with 1 pin. Ask whether the clients feel 1 or 2 pin pricks. Okay, ma'am, close your eyes. Okay, ma'am. How many pins did you feel?
2.
Diagnosis. Place familiar objects such as key, paperclip, or coin in the client's hand and ask the client to identify them. Okay, ma'am, close your eyes. What is that, ma'am?
Coins.
Yes.
Key.
If the client has a motor impairment of the hand and is unable to manipulate an object, write a number or letter on the client's palm using a blunt instrument and ask the client to identify it. Extension phenomenon. Simultaneously stimulate 2 symmetric areas of the body, such as the cheeks or the hands. Close your eyes. Then document findings in the client's record.